troll doll, chicken-related items,
Chicken?
celebrity hair locks, the largest collection of belly button fluff.
Ew.
He's divided them into colors.
What? That's gross.
That's not a collection. That's something else.
It's time for another episode of Charbroiled Chats.
Beanie Babies, ticket stubs, Chinese restaurant menus. People collect anything and everything. The question, though, is why do we collect things? The first person I thought of to ask that question is Mary Beth. But full disclosure, Mary Beth is my sister. But the point is, wow, Mary Beth, you are an avid collector.
My biggest collection is miniature trinkets, little miniature things. And I've collected them since I was a little girl.
What kind of trinkets?
Well, when I was little, I used to collect little gumball machine trinkets.
Uh-huh.
Gumball machines.
Right.
And I think that's when it started.
Because we were never allowed to get stuff in the gumball machine.
Well,
No, we weren't. Dad would never give us a quarter or a nickel.
every so often he would.
These are like the things that come in those transparent globes.
Yeah, well, that's how
Yeah.
it started. But, well, actually, we used to go to flea markets, too, and I always used to be attracted to the little things. So I collect, you know the printer shelves?
No.
Oh, Grace, how do you explain printer shelves?
Well, you know what hot type is, and you know about the old printing presses and all that. You know, the wooden trays that they used to keep the type in.
Right.
She collects those too.
And I fill them up. And I've been filling them since 7th grade.
What you use to keep the trinkets in, but you also collect
Right.
the cases.
Inside the trinket trays, the printing trays, I have other collections inside there.
Okay.
So it's collections within collections, I guess you'd say.
It's a meta collection.
Oh. Okay. What are the trinkets?
Okay, one collection is little porcelain dolls
Okay.
of all different sorts, all different nationalities.
How big are those?
Well, they fit in printers boxes, so probably 1/2 inch to maybe 1.5 inches.
Okay.
And then I collect little hand-blown vases and hand-blown little insects and things like that.
Made of glass, right? Not like
Yeah.
dried insect.
Yeah, made of glass.
Okay. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like a little blown glass. I don't know, like a balloon animal, except glass.
Yeah, those I do collect those also, yes.
Oh,
But-
okay.
But the other ones are artists. Well, those are artist made too, but the other hand-blown things are, they're made by artists and they're very delicate and pretty colors and
Okay.
pretty designs. And then I collect Halloween items.
Okay. So that's three things, right? Or 4 things if you count the cases.
Oh, you really want to know all my collections in that
Yeah,
printer's box?
Yeah.
Okay, little locket,
Okay.
little with keys, little pop like beverage bottles,
Mhm.
Pepsi, Faygo. They have little miniature ones, and they're very old. Everything is old.
Okay.
The older the better for me too. I forgot to say antiques.
Soda, beer bottles.
There are little beer bottles.
Okay.
They're about an inch big. I have a couple beer bottles.
Okay, so these are not full-size bottles. These are
Nope, these are all miniatures.
okay.
No, she's got her beer can bottle in her bedroom. her beer can collection is in her bedroom.
Yeah, that's a really big collection too.
Nah.
Little bottles.
Little clock.
I mean, these are tiny things, Wally. None of these things are like more than an inch big.
Okay. Everything is a miniature. It's a trinket, obviously.
I collect dice, yes, and they're like even less than 1/4 of an inch big. They're glass dice. Some are bone.
Mm-hmm.
What about the Cracker Jack stuff?
Oh yeah. I collect Cracker Jack toys from the late 1800s not till present, but till probably the 1970s.
Really?
Yeah, when I was little, probably 2nd grade, we used to camp, and I would they used to have this cool store. I'd buy Cracker Jacks. I'd buy them just to get the prize out and then give the Cracker Jacks away.
You gave them away, though. You didn't just throw them away.
No, I give them to my brothers or sisters. I had wonderful brothers and sisters.
When did...
She has one brother, not multiple. One brother.
Have you ever met a trinket you didn't like?
No, not really.
If you go...
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm not crazy about cutesy. I'm not crazy about cutesy things.
Cupies?
What's cutesy?
Like Hummels are sort of cutesy and...
Oh, okay.
I'm not crazy about tacky things, right? The odder, the better.
It sounds like if you go into a store, place that has trinkets, you're not going to see much that you don't like.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
Do you categorize them as you collect them?
I do.
Obviously, but in your head, do you think of, I'm looking for a glass?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's not just all trinkets all the time.
I also collect chintz. Do you know what chintz Chinaware is? So I have a big collection in a china cabinet.
And those are full size.
Yep, but I stopped collecting those. They got a little boring.
It was boring. Why was that?
I don't know. After 20 years, I have butter dishes, teapots, glasses. I think I pretty much have it all.
If they were miniaturized, would it be more interesting?
I think I'd still collect them. They take up too much room, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem for me sometimes because I used to collect black hats, like, from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And I'd have them like on my bedroom wall. But then after a while, I'm like, oh my God, how many am I going to have? Where am I going to put them all? And I dumped it, So now anything I collect is small as well.
Well, Wally, also I sell antiques.
Okay.
So once I get, if I find nicer miniatures, I get rid of other ones. So when I tell you my collection is top shelf, it's top shelf.
Okay.
It's top shelf.
It is. I'm bragging, but it is.
So would you say you have 15 different categories? I'm just trying to get my head around the whole trinket thing.
Oh, I have these little furry animals.
Okay.
And I wear them as pins.
Right.
I have three stuffed animals. They're from like the 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that'd be another category.
Mm-hmm.
Little clocks. I have 3 or 4 of those. But the porcelain dolls, I have about 30.
Right.
The hand-blown vases, I have about 50. The Halloween things, I have about 70.
If you had a warehouse, would you ever stop collecting?
No, well, I'm still not going to because I have a huge house. I have a pretty big house for one person. So I have a few rooms full. So no, I'm never going to stop collecting, even though I don't have a warehouse.
Okay.
I fill up my house.
It sounds like a lot.
It is. It is.
At some point, you have to decide to stop, but maybe you don't because they're miniature.
Right. And I do have a salt and pepper collection.
Uh-huh. Is that a strategy to do miniatures because then you can get so many?
I think it is. I really do. Wait, Grace has a collection of Kokeshi dolls.
They're these little wooden dolls but they're not what you really would think of as a doll. There's like a base piece that's kind of cylindrical usually, and then a little head on top. But they're very geometric. They were carved by people in Japan after the war, I guess, as souvenirs for tourists.
Mm-hmm.
They're so cool. I don't know. I found my first set. I never really knew what they were. I found a set at an estate sale and I bought them. And then I realized, like, oh, these are something that you can find elsewhere and collect. And there's modern ones. I don't like those at all. I like the old ones. I mean, they're really, each one is unique because they're individual people. They're not like Barbies where someone's forming them out of plastic in the same mold,
They're mostly wooden.
Yeah, I don't have anything that's not wooden. I mean, I suppose you could get Kokeshi images or something in other materials, but real Kokeshi dolls, I'm pretty sure, are just wood.
Well, they have some out of erasers.
But those are old ones?
Yeah, I had one from the 50s. It was an eraser.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It didn't bobble, though. The head didn't move.
You want that one, Grace?
Yeah, that'd be cool to see.
How many of those dolls do you have?
I think I have about 40 of
Wow.
them. It's not anything like my sister's collection.
No, but it still sounds like a collection.
We would not be collecting stuff like what are those baby dolls and things like that?
Beanie Babies?
Yeah, whatever. And or those the dolls that a lot of people collect.
The porcelain ones?
I don't know. They're just in packages and they're
ugly.
Yeah, crap like that. There's no and we wouldn't collect tacky stuff,
But people do.
Oh, many people do. So like I said, I sell antiques, and most of the people I'm in these co-ops, and also I sell at flea markets, and almost all these people have I think an obsessive problem. They all buy and buy, and they're selling because they've bought too many, or Because I'm very obsessive. I buy and then I sell them all. So, I mean, I don't have a hoarding problem at all because I sell it.
Right.
But I could have a hoarding. What?
Well, no, you don't have a hoarding problem, but you do have, do you mind me saying this? You do have, diagnosed obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yeah.
It's not like when people say, oh, I'm obsessive or I'm obsessive.
Right.
I mean, you have the actual disorder.
Yeah, and I love crowded. I also draw like circles a lot, and I like everything crowded. I like everything a lot. Like when I look at my house and I have things all over, I have these bookshelves and they're all filled with I also love colorful glass.
Mm-hmm.
They're all full, and my one sister comes over and goes, "Ew, I can't even look at that. It's there's too much," and she'll talk to me like that.
I
Not
didn't
you.
know that you liked being surrounded like that.
I don't like being surrounded, but I like a lot.
You are surrounded.
I like it. I think it looks pretty.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying it doesn't, but I guess I didn't know that like gives you comfort somehow,
Oh yeah, I go in where I have all my curio shelves, and I go at least once a week and just go in there and stare at them and move things around, group them differently. I love these boxes are tacked to the wall. So I would love to take these boxes down and totally rearrange them. And I did a couple years ago, but I mean, there's no way I could do it. So sometimes I just take things out and then try and move them like that. But I love it. I don't like clutters in others' homes though.
Uh-huh.
Only in yours.
Yeah, it bothers me in other people's homes. I mean, it even gives me anxiety if they have too much around.
Huh.
In my research for this, I found out that hoarding has no relation to collecting because hoarding is considered, it interferes with living a normal life.
Right.
Someone who is hoarding, everything is just piled together, whereas someone who is collecting can find any piece they're looking for because it's so highly organized. And
Right.
so it's totally different.
Definitely. I know where everything is. I would know if somebody took something. Yeah, and hoarding, the people, they have some kind of traumatic
Right.
Thing happen to them, and then they can't part with it either.
Right.
They have major anxiety if they have to part with it. So
To get to the heart of this, why do you think you have collected how many thousand things? I mean, it sounds like thousands.
I don't know. I love it. I buy items from auctions, and I like the auction. I like the lot that have a lot in them, like that you can't even see them. Like, say it'll be a shoebox full of stuff, and you could only see a couple things on top. Those I love, and I love to get them and find what I collect in them. And I don't know. I just like it.
You're buying things sight unseen?
Pretty much on auction sites, yeah.
Right.
And I do.
And then you go
very well.
Then you like going through them and separating them and figuring
yeah.
out what they
I
are.
love
Yeah,
it.
like when she brings home, like if she brings over a box of stuff that she got, right, that she's gone through, like I cannot touch them and look at them myself. She has to show them to me in the order that she wants me to see them.
Oh, wow.
We got in our fight last year because she wanted to look at it. And I said, no, you have to look at it in the order I'm showing it to you.
Because that contaminates, somebody else could contaminate the collection or?
No, I just want money to make sure she looks at everything and I want her to see how cool it is. I don't know. It's just a goofy habit.
It is interesting though, because I love doing things like that too. Like we've always loved, I mean, my whole family, right? And
except Lisa.
Lisa doesn't like going to estate sales and such.
She hates it.
Oh, really?
Oh, she doesn't like the dirtiness. She doesn't like used things. Nope. Me, you, and Sam do.
It's not like you're going in there and buying used socks.
I know.
But anyway, it's similar to searching on the internet. Like I love to search for things. And if there's something I can't find, and I'm not talking about searching for things to buy, just searching for anything, like a piece of information or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I love looking until I have exhausted every possibility, like I love that treasure hunt feeling. And it's the same thing with objects too. I mean, there have been times when I bought things from estate sales and I get to look through them and it's so much fun. It is. It's like a treasure hunt.
In Coin Week magazine, I don't know if either of you get that.
No.
The reasons that people collect: hunting and gathering. It goes back to evolution because we obviously had to get our food, and then we always brought our tools with them, so people collected anything they might need to help them stay alive. Consumerism. We are defined by our possessions. To prevent and accept death, collectors deal with their inevitable demise by creating something that will live on after they are gone.
Oh, that's interesting.
Connection with something larger. People want to be part of something bigger than themselves. Collectors often have an interest in history and owning artifacts with historical import.
I would say the things that I have collected in my life are aesthetically pleasing to me. Like, it was cool that those Kokeshi dolls are an actual thing, that they're a reason they exist and all of it, that they're just not these cute little things, but there's a story behind them. But the first ones I found, I'm like, look at these cute little things. And you know how I'm just, how I love anything Japanese, I love Japanese film and food and art and literature and everything, So this just tied right into that.
Mastery. The world is large and uncaring. With events outside our control, a collector owns and directs a small part of that world.
That's you, Mary.
I don't know.
Reducing anxiety. The feeling of comfort.
Yeah, it does comfort me.
The collector must continue to add to the collection to stave off unwelcome feelings. The joy of buying. We all love shopping.
Yeah.
People who say they don't like shopping mean truthfully they prefer not to shop for clothes and shoes, but everyone loves to spend time looking for things that we find interesting. Return to childhood.
Yeah, that's a big. I've collected since I was young, and I have all my collections.
Collecting behavior peaks at around age 10, with nearly all children having some type of collection.
I've even kept some of my sister's things, I
was just going to say
brothers and sisters' items
that I don't really want to get rid of, but at the same time, I don't really want them around.
I put them in the shelf.
Yeah, a couple of things I could give you today.
Mary Beth, do you talk to people who have similar collections?
Yes.
Yeah.
I sell at a place called The Peddler in Buffalo, and I've made a bunch of guy friends that have big collections. And this one guy, Bob, he's a photographer, a professional photographer. We've been on Facebook, we've been showing each other's our collections, and his collection is very, very similar to mine. Or at The Peddler, I buy a lot of his stuff and he buys mine. And I didn't realize that when he showed me the pictures, I'm like, oh my God, that looks like my house. So
wow. He
has a lot of miniatures too. He collects a lot more photographs though, tin lithographs and little frames and things like. So his is a little different than mine, but very similar.
Neuroscientist Daniel Krajcik says that there's a hormone that elevates when we're around like-minded people. Oxytocin.
It's like taking Oxycontin.
Yeah, I don't think that's the same. Maybe it is.
I think it's oxytocin, isn't it?
Oxytocin. Okay.
No, seriously, that's the chemical in your brain, I think.
Yeah.
Could be wrong.
Oxytocin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it when I go and sell the things. I look forward to that day during the week, and I love all the people there. They're really fun.
Yeah, that's exactly. It says a feel-good hormone that elevates our ability to communicate, collaborate, and trust others by activating networks in our prefrontal cortex.
Hey, it's funny. I was in my backyard one day and I was trying to trim some stuff, and my neighbor, who I never really met, over the fence, I just I heard that she was there, and I just said, hey, do you mind if I trim this back, blah, blah, blah. And we just introduced ourselves and started talking. And I don't even know how we got on the topic, but I mentioned that I had a Kokeshi doll collection, and she said, I've been crocheting little Kokeshi dolls, and she went out and got one and she gave it to me. I mean, that was like such a cool connection that, the first time I'd ever met this person and talked to her.
That is weird.
You're still getting a little hit of that hormone, I think, right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, yes. So
just the memory of it.
I've never met anyone else who collects what I collect, so I've never,
A guy named Petrulis, who's an avid autograph collector.
Oh, neat.
And he said, but there's a dark side to it. It gets addictive. Just like gambling, drugs, or sex, it's like putting a coin in a slot machine. It might not pay off this time, so you put another quarter and you keep doing it until you're tapped out or finally hit the jackpot.
How does that work with autographs? I don't quite get that.
The buzz, I think, of hunting and trying to find the person, and it sounds like he means that he actually meets the people when he collects them. It's not just buying and selling. So anyway, there's all these reasons for collecting. There's so many reasons that it almost just becomes an umbrella. We like to collect, but except for me, again, I'm an outlier. This podcast has taught me what a weird and strange person I am.
Well,
I'm obsessed with driving. I hate music, and I don't collect anything.
yeah. And you
So-
don't care about pie, right?
And I don't really care about pie.
Yeah.
That's sad that you're not a collector.
I'm not only not a collector, I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum on collecting. I don't keep anything.
You're a purger.
Exactly. I wouldn't say minimalist, but I don't have any. This is absolutely true. I don't have more than half a dozen books. I don't have any CDs. I don't have any DVDs. I don't own anything that I can't fit in a suitcase. And
Yeah, nothing gives you pleasure except going fast. That's it.
it really comes down to that. I feel like material things are a burden.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
See, I love them.
When I first met Cecilia, I was living in an apartment. I'd been there for like 2 years, and she walked in and she looked around, and I had a couple of paintings that were leaned against the wall, but in 2 years, I'd never put anything up on the walls. I just don't relate to material things or my surroundings. Everything that goes on with me is buried inside my skull, I think.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, everything for me is the aesthetics. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like when I go into a new office, I have to decorate it.
Right.
You know, I mean, when I'm in a new house, the first thing I do is think about how am I going to decorate it, and everything has to be aesthetically pleasing somehow. And what I listen to, everything. I mean, that's how my brain works.
Right.
You know, what's kind of interesting is my son's progress with this activity, right? When he was little, he wanted everything. He wanted the empty pizza boxes when we were done having a pizza, right?
Mhm.
He wanted everything in his playroom. He wanted to collect everything. He had multiples of everything. I wouldn't let him take the pizza boxes because I didn't want them to get moldy. But for a time, he doesn't believe me, but it is true. He had a collection of Chinese restaurant menus wrapped with a rubber band.
Mhm.
He used to sleep with them.
He used to sleep with them.
Wow.
He would take them to bed. He used to have collections of things. And all of a sudden, the past several years, I don't know if it's the onset of puberty or what, but he has become a real minimalist.
Yeah,
Very organized about what he does, and he purges a lot.
everything's organized. A lot of times he'll buy things and he won't even open them and just get rid of them.
The organization seems to be a big part of it with everybody. Grace, you were talking about your movie lists and your CD lists and your ticket collection.
That's true. I do have a ticket collection, don't I? And that's the one reason why I don't like electronic tickets now, because you don't really have anything
I
big
know.
to collect.
But you could still have databases with.
Yes, I do still have my database,
Yeah.
my spreadsheet of bands.
Wally, did you say that you had a coin magazine?
The best, simplest list I found of why people collect was in Coin Week magazine.
Oh, so you don't collect coins though?
No, I don't collect anything.
Okay.
I mean, can you imagine that magazine? Good Lord. I can't fathom that.
Coin Week? You can't fathom. Well, I mean, coins are one of the most popular, I would guess.
I'm sure. I just can't imagine the magazine.
Boring.
Yeah, boring.
But also organized, and I'm sure it's very tiny font and things that you can pore over for weeks every time the magazine comes in the mail.
See, now, one aspect of collecting that probably I never got into because I never really wanted to spend the money on it is, there are lots of people with collections and they always want to get the more and more and more expensive and rare thing, right?
Right.
I've never been into that part of it. Like I'm sure there are some very rare Kokeshi dolls, but am I willing to go out? I just get the ones that I think are appeal to me the most. I don't know that I would waste my money on that. And the things that I would want to buy that in that regard would be way too expensive for me to afford. I would love to get old, designer watches, old Rolexes or Piaget watches, I could never afford those things.
People that read Coin Week are going to hear this and they're going to say, trinkets? Boring.
No doubt. I'll probably get hate mail from listeners.
If we were only so lucky.
I know. Maybe we should say the things that we think are really stupid to collect, and that will go viral. Like Barbie dolls.
Like precious moments.
Precious moments. Stupid.
Yeah.
Well, it is interesting what people will collect. I mean, that's really cool. And I've read about people who, and it's not in a collecting magazine or anything. It's just, you happen on stories, and maybe it's not even about this person's collection. It's about something else. But you find out they collect like the I don't even know, but these really oddball things. But I think, oh, that would be really fun to have something that's so odd.
Okay, here's those troll dolls. I think that's what you meant.
Yes.
Chicken-related items. Celebrity hair locks. There's a guy...
you mean like raw chicken? Like chicken pieces?
Graham Barker has the largest collection of belly button fluff.
What? That's gross.
What?
Started in 1984. It's all his own.
Good.
There's a picture of him with jars in front of them, and it looks like he's divided them into colors in each jar.
Yeah. Good freaking God. That's not a collection. That's something else.
There's a guy who has the world's largest nicotine gumball.
Oh, my God.
Stuff that he chewed already?
Yes.
I mean, these are not collections, really. These are not collections.
Bettina Dorfman has a Barbie doll collection with 6,025
Yeah, a lot of people have that. Very collectible. But they don't open them and play with them, so it's not even fun.
So what do we think? Where does it come from? Why do we do it? Why do you do it?
Okay, I'm just looking up 43 people who collect the weirdest things ever.
Mm-hmm.
Backscratchers. That kind of stuff is really interesting. Soap bars.
Yeah, it's fun.
Now, this is gross.
Yeah, see, that's unsanitary.
Yes, it is. Umbrella cover sleeves.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola cans. That's banana stickers. Yeah, see, that's neat. How would you find so many? Oh, love dolls. That's interesting.
What are they?
Love dolls.
What's that?
The plastic sex toys.
Oh, God.
It says they like dressing the dolls up and even take them on shopping.
Now that's weird. That's just weird.
Okay, I do have one collection, and that's love dolls.
Yeah.
Don't
How
judge.
many motorcycles do you have?
None.
Oh, I thought you
No.
rode motorcycles.
Well, I do, but even when I had a motorcycle, I only had one at a time.
Did you shine it up and buy new pieces for it or parts?
No, it was pretty new, so it wasn't that kind of a deal.
So I was going to say that's sort of collecting and.
I don't even have a yearbook, any albums of photographs. I don't know. I want to move through the world, and the old Sierra Club thing: take only photos, or leave only footprints, take only photos.
Yeah, I mean, there are things that I just cannot get rid of. And it's not necessarily the collectible stuff, but there are things that I just can't bear to throw out.
Because they have meaning.
Yeah, they have sentimental meaning.
But I even throw out things that have sentimental meaning.
How do you do that, though?
I just think that, you're just on the planet for a very short period of time, and it's not going to make any difference. In 100 years, there will be nobody alive who ever spoke to you.
I know.
What's the difference?
It brings up, when you see these things, it brings up feelings. Like I have the things that my son came home in, right? Like I have the clothes and the bottles that he came home with.
Right.
Could never get rid of those. There's no way. And then I have some things from an aunt of mine who passed away. I have things from my childhood. I have like my sterling silver baby cup and things like that.
Maybe I'm like a Mr. Spock. I
don't know what you are. I don't know how to classify you. Well, see, I have to classify, right? So I don't know how to classify you.
That's the trouble with this podcast, that it's taught me these things about myself. I didn't realize how weird and strange I am.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah, that's
isn't
interesting
it?
too.
Yeah, so this podcast is really about you.
It really is.
If you were to collect something, what would it be?
I don't know. Nothing really. I can't think of a thing.
Do you like any art?
Yeah, I like to look at art, but I don't want to own it.
Huh.
If I were alone, I'd be like Nomadland or.
Yeah. The whole tiny home thing
it
is
is
intriguing. thing I don't like about it is that I need a full bathroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I need a full size bathtub, toilet, sink, Other than that, it's very intriguing.
I could easily be a monk if I had a table and a chair and a bed.
Yeah, I bet you could.
And maybe a cable subscription.
Like I'm looking at this list of the most interesting collections. Almost all of them would be interesting to look through, but not the freaking toenails and the belly button fluff. That's just gross. I wouldn't want to look at that. It would turn my stomach.
Remember your friend collected her fingernails?
Actually, you know what? No, do you remember, Wally? I don't think you were in the kitchen at the time, but Sue and someone else and I were in the kitchen, and she was chewing on her fingernail, and then all of a sudden she got up and she did something, and someone said, "What did you just do?" And she said, I saved my fingernail so I could chew on it later. But Wally, someone you do know, did used to collect her toenail clippings when she was a child, and she used to save them in a bottle, and I guess one day her mother just came in and she's like, "What is this?" And she just tossed them out.
Oh my God.
Well, nice to meet you, Mary Beth.
Nice to talk with you.
Another episode of Charbroiled Chats comes to a close.
Okay, should we stop recording?
Tweet us at @CharbroilC or email us at charbroiledchats@gmail.com. Of course, we'd love it if you'd head over to iTunes or YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts and write a review of Charbroiled Chats. And please, subscribe, like, follow, comment, and most of all, tell all your friends about Charbroiled Chats. See you next time.